Thank you for the 15 months, though. 15 months with Prime. Thank you so much. That's wild. Hello, everybody. Hi, Koito. Hello. First time chatting. Hello. Hello. Okay, the end of this song kind of trips me out because there's music. Hi, everybody. Hi, Leah Larson. Hello. Bitty itty titty witty feely. I'm still gonna say the whole thing every time because it's funny. God bless Banana Split and Worm. Hello. How are you doing? Not Madison. Hi. ADHD man. Nuru. Olive didn't. Hey, everyone. How are you? And Zoe, thank you again for the 15 months. That's insane. Sparkle Fun for you. That Ginger Ola. Hello. Techie Shadow. Foggy Swamp. Hi, everybody. You got mac and cheese. Oh, well, now we're ready to start the stream. Oh, not like that. Like this. Now we're ready to start the stream. We got the mac and cheese. We're ready. How are you guys doing today? My question is why? That's gonna be a lot of the questions, actually. And you're not even that far off. I'm sorry, I'm using a different headset today because I messed up my audio and I didn't want to wait to try and fix it because I knew I would get upset with it and then I'd end up just not streaming, so that's not gonna happen. There was exactly 45 seconds between your live announcement and when you went live. This is unacceptable. I'm sorry? Is it? Should I give the announcement before I go live? I usually just do it as I go. RG Rattel, thank you for first time chatting. Also, Alex Oren, hello everyone. Hi, Honk Frank, hi. I haven't seen you in a hot second. My question, why does it take so long to sleep? Is it like a waiting list? Like getting to sleep? Is that what you mean? A waiting list. So you mean there's only a certain amount of people that's allowed to sleep at one time? That's an interesting theory. Also, Boo Dits, thank you for following. I appreciate it. Time for the brain to go brr. Guys, I'm so excited to talk today. I have so many things that I want to talk about. I pulled up a bunch of different things. But first, I want to talk to you guys about any questions that you guys might have. Here, I'm going to turn down the music a little bit. Is that audio level okay for you, chat? Oh, I read Heartstopper comics after your last stream, and I'm at... Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 10 months. That's insane. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're almost to 1 year. Thank you so much, Crown King. You started it all. You were there. You were there for that first stupid viral video. And Leander and P1H official, thank you for following. Thank you. I got a new pair of headphones today and you can hear every single beat in the songs. Hopefully it's not overwhelming then, because I have realized, especially lately, guys, my voice, you guys can obviously tell it's different, but I'm learning different ways to use my voice and I feel like I'm booming. I'm accidentally like scaring people because my voice is so much lower. So I hope that I'm not jarring anyone with my audio. My question is, if the humans are the smartest animal, why are so many stupid? That's a really good question. Let's start that one off, chat. What do you think? Personally, also, thank you, Kildare. Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel very nice today. Thank you. I think humans are not the smartest animal. I think we measure intelligence based on the humans that are measuring it. So of course we're gonna use us as like the baseline, which I'm gonna talk about a lot today actually, is that we look at ourselves as the baseline. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're the best. We're just basing our knowledge of the world off of what we know already, which is us, which makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that. But we definitely aren't the smartest. I mean, it depends on what your definition of smart or intelligent is. But I would say that we're not like the highest performing in all areas of all animals. We just like to think that we are. My question is, why am I so hot and amazing? That's a really good question. And I think you guys should ask that of yourselves a little bit more often. Is why am I so incredible? Why do I have all of these incredible thoughts and abilities and things that I can do in my head? That's a great question. I'm hyper too much for 9 p.m. Run in circles, run in circles. Vampire, thank you for following. Everybody right now, if you're a little bit hyper, if you got too much energy, run in circles. I'll run with you. EA Jose, I want to say, or EA Josie, thank you for following. I'll run in circles with you. I actually can't run in circles because I have cords on these headphones, but I'll do this. I'll be like an oscillating fan that's stuck in one corner, and so it just, because I also have a little bit of energy. There you go. I got my energy out now. Hopefully some of you ran in circles with me. Finally picked up my asthma medication for my trip to the USA today. I'm glad you got your medication. That sounds very important, to not have an asthma attack when you're overseas, I'm assuming. RG Ritzel, thank you for following as well. Thank you. Saw a species of monkey that's not actually a monkey, but looks like one. And they look like they have so many different thoughts going on in their heads. They look sentient, if that makes sense. That was a lot of information, but I understand what you mean by, like, you can tell when they're thinking all those thoughts. And Zoink, thank you for following. Even just, oh, hi CRT, hello. Even just my cat, Ducky, is smart but stupid, you know, like that, and I can see her little brain moving sometimes, and it's hard. CL Ralph, thank you for following. Thank you, appreciate it. I woke up from a fat nap. It was 3 hours long. It sounds like you had a great day. Quinn6909, thank you for the sub. Thank you so much. What a good user. Thank you so much for the sub. You're now part of the Cool Kids VIP club. How exciting. I should open my Twitter. I should open my private Twitter again. Oops. Quinn6909, thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much. Wow, it's Merkin time. It really is. We're getting started right off the bat. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted. That is so kind of you. Thank you. I'm glad you're having a good time. Crows are super smart. Crows are super smart. That's a really good example. Orangutans are the smartest animal. Really? That's really interesting. That's interesting because we're closer related to chimpanzees, right? So the great apes, I think there are only 3, right? Orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzees, those are the great apes. Is that right? What breed of cat is Ducky? She's so cute. I think she's just like a short hair, American short hair, but I think she's part Siamese. I think she has some Siamese in her, but her mom just looked exactly like her, and she was just a stray, like, kitten from, you know, stray cats breeding. So I'm not sure exactly, but I think she has some Siamese in her, because she's gorgeous. Lauren J56789, thank you for following. And Glitch Tech, thank you. Oh, you guys are giving me some good questions. Okay, wait. Apologies, that was very deep. Wait, I'm gonna read what you said then, because I wanna know. I think humans think we're the blueprint, and we're the main creatures. So humans just assume they're smarter because we can't interact and do a lot of things that animals can't. You're absolutely right. Mob was live, and when will I die? Thank you for following. I think you're absolutely right. No matter the size of your audience, whether you're pulling 1 or 1,000 viewers, you're making a difference. Thank you for bringing joy, and just know that even when you feel like you're not doing much, you could potentially be making someone's day a lot better by just being yourself. Never give up, and just know that you can achieve anything if you put hard work and time, and there are people out there that appreciate you, including me. Ruby Starling, that is the kindest message that I could have received today, and that is just so nice. I don't think that you know how much that message meant to me, so thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And I hope you have a wonderful day. That was very kind of you. People like you make me very happy to go live. Thank you so much. Animals are definitely better than people. We're just people who have too big of an ego who think we're better. See, and that's interesting because animals being better than people, because we're animals, right? But I think that's the distinction's really difficult because we're different, clearly. Something's a little different for us to be controlling the majority of the dry earth. But we're still animals. Oh, thank you for the bits. Balls. We're resetting the momentum. Reset! Momentum reset! We're back to the funny business. Except we're talking about intense things today rather than the funny, I guess. I'm wondering about maybe when we can't remember what we dream about, so we say we haven't had a dream. Then the dreaming server is full because we live in a simulation. Interesting. Okay. How many people here think we actually live in a simulation? Genuinely, because I know a lot of people really, really... Wait, it didn't read it out? What the heck? What the heck? What you mean? Humans are definitely not the smartest animal. We just have base level sentience and thumbs. It's not fair on the thumbless animals that deserve some semblance of modern society. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Where's the hype for the thumbless animals? Octopus? Octopus are so smart. Are you kidding me? And their abilities, the ability to like change the texture and the color of your skin in order to hide, we're losers. If you're going off of how well you can survive a situation like that, we're losers. The octopus wins, and it's so smart. You're gonna claim that we're better than an octopus just because we got thumbs? Not quite. Someone give an octopus a society to run. I bet they'd do great. Okay, and the majority of you guys don't seem to be believing in, I'm gonna move the chat over on this side. Don't seem to be believing in a simulation, which is fine. And remember, we're not here to bash anybody's beliefs. If you think that we live in a simulation, more power to you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I'm not trying to shit on anybody's beliefs here, but I just think it's interesting to see what people actually think about the universe, because I think it's a lot more diverse than you'd originally expect. Also, Midnight's Live, thank you for following. I'm sorry I missed that. Has anyone looked up at the stars and you realize how small you are in the world, yet one person can change another person and so on? Jaden, thank you for following. And absolutely, because there's a, okay, have I talked about cosmic dread on here before, chat? There is a feeling that's like impossible to reproduce in movies and things like that, because you can only get it if you look up at the sky and see the actual like vastness of space and time in front of you. Okay, so that's really difficult to get on screen, but if you ever want to experience it, okay, because it's life-changing, it's this weird phenomena that we can experience as a human species, right? If you go outside, like when the moon's full or something like that, and you stare at the moon, but not only staring at it, you consciously think about and process and try to understand the distance between you and the moon, and how small you are in comparison to that, and where you are on the Earth, and how large the Earth is, and how small you are on that Earth, and where the solar system is in relation to the galaxy, and things outside of our galaxy, and you start processing how much space there actually is, it like drops stuff onto the bottom of your stomach. It's like a horrifying but very good type of horrifying feeling. I really like, so I call that cosmic dread. Also, Ali G's and Quackity Not Found, thank you for following. Thank you so much, thank you. I've done that, it's so fun. I like to tell people that, even though it sounds horrible, because it's really fun when you like can process it and realize what's going on. Blueberry Honey, thank you for following. Makes me feel upside down. I know exactly what you mean, where like the pit drops in your stomach. Merc, do you consider yourself an optimist, a realist, a nihilist, a pessimist, or something else / a combo? Wait, what's a nihilist? The definition of a nihilist? Or is that nihilism? Nihilism? Definition of nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles in the belief that life is meaningless. Okay, I'm not that one. Not that one. I would say I'm more of a realist than an optimist. Definitely. I won't be like, oh, we're gonna be fine in any situation, but I think you can be an optimist and still have based in reality expectations for things, you know? I'd say I'm probably a mix between a realist and a pessimist, and maybe a little bit of nihilism in there, because I do think that life is meaningless, kind of, but like, kind of. Okay, here's the thing. I accidentally clicked this, but I'm fucking vibing. This is cool as hell. I'm so glad, Rabbit Core. I'm glad that you're having a fun time. We just gotta talk here. If you're having fun, Mary Jane, TH, and Operation Teddy, thank you for following. If you guys are having fun, I'm glad you're having fun. We're just chilling, you know? What if we were reborn as plants? I talked a little bit about reincarnation last time, right? And about how, like, energy is transferred. Energy and matter are all one thing, right? Oh, there's a YouTuber, his name's Nile Red, and he does a bunch of really cool science things that I think you should check him out. I love Nile Red. But hey, right here. Look at me. Right here. Not you guys. You guys are fine. The camera's wigging out. Nile Red's good. I really, really like his videos. Yes. Think it's a stretch to say that we as a species necessarily have a sole purpose. That's what I was gonna say. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me back. I think a through line of the human species is that we want a purpose, right? We want something to exist for. They're like, what am I gonna do with my life? What's my purpose? What is the reason that I'm here? Let me find my purpose. Let me find something to spend my time on. And I feel like everybody, to an extent, has that experience, right? So I think that something in us, something about the human, like, soul is needing a purpose, is needing something to look forward to, like something to go towards. But I don't necessarily think that we have one. I think that it's just that we have a want. You know what I mean? But I don't think that there is something to fill that. But that's just our natural human curiosity looking for answers. And so we want an answer as to why we're here. But I don't think that there is one, if that makes sense. Alex Scott, thank you for following, and Jesse Alter Ego, thank you for following as well. Also, yes, this is just about all of my streams. Sometimes we play video games, and sometimes we do other stuff, but it's usually just me talking about stupid shit like this. What is your thoughts on the supernatural? I don't know. I've been listening to Magnus Archives recently. Has anyone here listened to the Magnus Archives? A lot of people on TikTok were telling me to listen to it after my whole spider shenanigan. And I've been listening to it. Thank you for following, Rabbit Court. And Cuddly Hornet. That's a weird name. Good weird. Don't mind it, but weird. Boys Bacteria, thank you for following as well. That sounds like absurdism. Very cool. Oh, okay. I like the word absurd, so that's good to know that that's a term. I feel like everything that I discuss is not like a new idea, right? It's just that I don't know what it's called. I'm sure that any concept, any theory, any philosophy that I'm talking about exists, and sometimes I find it through other philosophers and people talking about it. Sometimes I come up with it myself, and then I find out other people have thought this forever. And that's honestly really validating. If you think of something about the universe, a question that you have about the universe, and you can look it up and other people have also asked that question, you're probably on the right track. It means there's gonna be some information out there for you to look through, you know? Boys Bacteria, thank you for following. I just started TMA. It's so good so far. Yeah, it's really, really good. So in reference to like that kind of paranormal stuff, I think to an extent, things exist. Like, I think, Sunflowery, thank you for following. That's a cute name. I think, okay, wait, and I'm gonna try and explain this as best as I can. Evolution, right? Survival of the fittest, or survival of whatever can survive that much, right? Is based on our need to survive, not our need to see what's actually here, if that makes sense. So, I think, and not even I think, I know that our reality is based on our perception, so we have probably evolved to not perceive things we don't need to perceive, right? Because our main goal is to survive. If there was something, maybe like a spirit or a ghost or levels of paranormal experiences or visions or things that you could see on that level, right? If something like that exists, we would probably evolve to not pay any attention to it. However, creepy little kids making drawings of ghosts that sit in their rooms, wouldn't surprise me if a little kid had the ability to see this weird paranormal energy that we can't see when we grow up, because kids can see and do a lot of weird shit. I have someone in my life who claims that being a child is like the perfect age to experience being human, because you have all this wonder and curiosity before your brain's filled up with so much information. So would there be some paranormal things that are out there? Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Bigfoot exists, so I would not be shocked at all if there were beings or energies or experiences that maybe have been hallucinated by people when in reality they're just experiencing something that we normally can't see. I think it's a lot sillier to pretend like there's absolutely no chance of anything like that happening just because you haven't experienced it. But that's just me. The Great Potato Bee and Jojo and Crumblet, thank you for following. Also, hi everyone who's first time chatting. Hope that you guys are having a good time. Hello, hello. All the new ones. You give me so much serotonin. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're enjoying this. We are much more connected to our past lives than we think. I agree. I definitely think so. In my religion, things exist to be lifted. Lifted? Interesting. At least if people believe in reincarnation, you might not fear death as much, you know? Not so much existentialism. Baby Chickens, thank you for following. I think that's a really good question and a really good point. Loch Ness Monster is actually plausible now. You're absolutely right, CRT, and I think that the Loch Ness Monster did exist at some point. I doubt that it's still alive now, but I think it definitely existed. So I was happy about that. I'm glad that you know about that too. Finney's the coolest, thank you for following. And Jasper the Vampire, that's a cool way to spell it too. Thank you. And don't mess with me. Hello, hello, hello. Hi everyone. If you're just joining, we're talking about the universe. We're discussing society and religion and the universe and ourselves and reincarnation and Bigfoot, all those normal things that we talk about. By Gold Boy 1998, thank you for following as well. I was told that a story by my mom when I was an infant. My Nan was driving home, sorry guys, holy shit, with me in the back seat of the car, and she decided to cut through the cemetery since it was quicker. She heard me mumbling in the back and asked who I was talking to, and apparently I responded, I'm talking to the babies. We were passing through where all the children were buried. Creeps me out. That's believable. I would fully believe that. You guys know in all like the classic horror movies where you walk up to the creepy little kid and he's like drawing that, wait, I have a second camera just for this, wait. And he's like, and you're like, hey bud, hey, how's it going? And he's like, hi mom. And you're like, hey, what you drawing there, bud? And he's like, and he holds it up. And it's like a fucking demon void black orb in the corner of the room. And then he's like a little stick figure standing in the corner, smiling, holding his teddy bear, right? And the, I don't know, the family dog that went missing a week before is sitting in a bloody mess underneath him. And like that kid would just like drew it with crayon like there was nobody's. Like that type of thing makes me feel like kids can see shit. That doesn't just, if something is a trope in a movie, it's happened in real life enough times to become a trope in a movie, and I will claim that. There are so many things in movies where it's only a trope because it's so common that everybody else has got to do it. So there are enough stories of crazy haunted kids that I would not be shocked at all that that's happening. Ginny Flinny, thank you for following. Do you know Greek mythology? I mean, yes, I'm not a master in it, but I had a Percy Jackson phase. I was obsessed with it for a second. I have a question. I'm thinking about it for a long time. How it feels to be a streamer or a person who's loved by thousands of people. I mean, in regards to like processing that people are watching me right now, I just kind of don't. I've started telling people this, but like right now in my head, the way that I process that people are talking to me, B24, thank you for following, is that I think it's just like maybe 10 or 15 people. I don't have my view count on. I never know how many people are watching because even when I see the number, it doesn't connect. It's just me like hanging out and talking to a few people. It's the only way I can process it because I don't, like we were talking about like the limits of our human brain, right? I don't think my brain is meant to process the amount of people that have seen my videos. I'm never supposed to know that many people exist. My brain doesn't work that way. It's not able to. So I have to like quiet it down a little bit, if that makes sense. But then it's really fun. I really like it. It's hard to remember that you guys are real people sometimes. Just like I feel like on the other end, it's hard for people to remember that I'm real sometimes and like I'll end stream and we're all gonna go just do our own thing. But it's fun. Right now, you guys are just my friends. We're just hanging out and talking about cool shit, which I love talking about. I love talking about stuff like this. If you enjoy talking about this and you're having fun, then we're friends for a bit while I hang out, you know? Does that sound nice? I feel like that sounds nice. Unknown Meow and Desirous Spoon, thank you for following. Ghosts in the supernatural are hot, not gonna lie. Yas Queen, go beyond this lame human form. I'm out of water. I was gonna say, you need to hold it. You need to calm down. But then, I didn't have a good enough argument, and I can't say anything. I have said way too many Pokemon are hot for me to judge anything you say. Meow. Meow. I'm a paranormal being. I just like your streams. You're just learning more about, or I'm learning more about you. It's a symbiotic relationship. Crown King. Anybody who believes in a certain religion believes it exists, and it does, to that person though. But if another person believes in a different religion, then that religion exists as well, but to that person. So it's literally like what you see is what you see. If you look in one direction, you'll see everything in that direction, and it's real to you. But if someone stands back to back with you and looks the opposite way, they're not going to see the same thing that you see. They'll see things that appear to them, and they will believe it to be real. That is the perfect explanation of perception as reality that I have ever heard. There you go. Perfect. Pez Dispenser Cosplay, thank you for the bones. Thank you. What a good day to be a bone collector. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mark, I still have your Pokemon Smasher Pass master list. I really wanted to look at that the other day. I kind of forgot that that existed. I've thought about that so much. That's a really, really good explanation of it. Have you guys heard the analogy of like the English teacher that's holding a book? And he's like, this book is red. And the class is like, no, it's blue. But it turns out that the book is two different colors, right? And he's like, we're both right because it's what we see, that type of thing. Moronic Spug, thank you for following. Hi, Mercury, long time no see. I don't know if you remember me. Nenda was unavailable. I remember your name actually since very, very early on. I think you might be on the wall in my first Minecraft server. I think I remember putting your name on a sign in my Minecraft server. Maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, you've been around for a hot minute. It's nice to see you. Thank you. I watched a few people play Dialtown, and I guess I spent so much time around Oliver because then I realized last night I am by definition a monster fucker. We do not talk about Oliver. Who was here for that stream? Oliver from Dialtown? I still have episode 2 of Dialtown, and I haven't played it yet. Oliver scarred me. Scarred me. Also, it's Joni, I want to say. Oh, 2, thank you for following. Yeah, dear God. We're not going back to Oliver. Oliver's crazy. Crazy, y'all. Crazy. Is that the phone? Yeah, the phone guy. Y'all want to fuck a phone? Listen. I have said smash to many things. Like, a ridiculous amount of things. But I said no. Don't judge me on that. Okay? Don't judge me on that. I said no to the phone. That was not on me. Okay, we're getting a little bit off topic, chat. I want to talk about the video that I was trying to find last time that I didn't end up finding. Windows Live Messenger. Thank you for following. This is from I Spent a Day with an Ex-Cult Member, which is the Anthony Padilla video I was trying to find last time. But this is a really good explanation of the cave theory, which we watched a video on last time, but I really liked this explanation and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So, yes.
There are lots of parallels that you started to notice.
The Matrix was based on actually a really old story, Plato's allegory of the cave. There are these people inside of a cave, and they've been there their entire life. All of a sudden, on this wall in front of them, these shadows
Thank you so much
appear,
for the gifted. Thank you, Sergi.
As to what these shadows are, and it's everything that they just love it. Like
I'm
when
sure
they see the
Twitch
shadows
feels
on the
so
wall,
special
like,
right
this
now.
is heaven. Like
Thank
they
you.
discuss it, they argue. Like the shadows are their reality. One day, one of the people in Plato's story breaks loose from the chains, and he noticed that there's a back wall, and so he walks to the back of the cave and looks behind the wall, and he sees that the shadows are being created by someone holding up some shape in front of a flame.
Look at
Everything in this person's life comes into question.
Thank you so much,
because
Trash Rat.
the
Have a great day.
shadows that he
Thank
thought
you.
were real are just a projection
I'll
of something
finish
else.
Dialtown
And then
eventually.
he sees a crack in the wall and climbs out and goes out of the cave. So let's say he saw a shadow of a tree, then he goes out and he sees a real tree. His mind is blown. Literally, his entire identity and everything just became shattered because everything he thought he knew was not true. And it scared him. And after it scared him, he then was like, this is awesome. There's so much more to life. But I still have
That's so important.
friends and family
After it's scared
down there. They need to know about this. So he goes back to the cave. He can't see very well. He stumbles. And so people are like, hey, like, where have you been? And he's like, oh, let me tell you, like, there's this whole outside world that's crazy. And of course, they have no frame of reference. So what do they think?
Why is Tonky
He's
Wonky
gone
in the background?
crazy. But what could be better than the shadows that we have? They ask him. Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? What I've seen, these shadows are nothing compared to what's real and what's out there. Now they feel threatened. Well, what are you saying? Are you trying to take away our shadows? And so because they feel threatened, they kill him. After my professor tells us that story, I thought of everything I knew to be true. Holy shit. There wasn't a single thing, not a single thing that was like a core thing that I had internally discovered. It was from my dad or the other priesthood leaders, the church. It was the first thing that was like what I call the crack. That was the thing that was so incredibly unsettling. I couldn't say for certain why what I believed was actually worth believing in.
So, that's a big deal. How do we feel about that, chat? The last bit of what he was saying was what felt the most important to me, was like, not a single thing I discovered had been internally discovered. It was given to him by other people. I feel like that's what made me end up realizing and going down this path of like absorbing information and researching stuff about the universe and asking all of these questions for myself, is because I realized my entire understanding of reality up until that point had been given to me by other people. And like, your whole life, you're like, oh, to thine own self be true, listen to yourself, listen to your gut. Like, that blew my mind, that my entire concept of reality and what I understood as like the base rules of where I was living was just given to me. I hadn't done any actual looking into what I was talking about or what I was believing in, right? And it was kind of a passive thing. Like, I didn't constantly question my reality, because why would I need to? But that moment made me question everything. I'm making you overheat. I'm sorry, too many frames per second. We can slow down a little bit. Butterfly, thank you for following. Thank you, Butterfly, for following. Here, we'll talk about something a little calmer. How's that? Not really. It's gonna be a little calmer. Not really, though. It's really not. It's really not at all. Because I'm gonna talk about how people like us, I guess. Everybody who's talking about stuff like this, that asks these weird questions. We have access to people online that we can ask these questions to, like right now, right? You can say, ask the most weirdly absurd question you could possibly have wondered about the universe in the chat. Go. Mine is, what if the government is secretly hiding Bigfoot in the national parks around North America and in the Alps? What if we have a giant undiscovered great ape living amongst us in the world? Like, that's kind of a little silly. Part of me believes it. Part of me is also like, that's probably not true, right? That's unrealistic. However, I won't know the answer unless I look into it, whether it's Googling it or going out to find Bigfoot myself, which I don't plan on doing right now. But I would need to find the answer to that question. Right? Mine is, how the fuck did we get here? That's a really good question. And do you mean here, like, on Earth? Here, like, in capitalism? Here, like, in the universe? Is Marilyn Monroe still alive? There's a really interesting, documentary on that, actually. I don't believe that she still is alive. However, I do think that some weird shit happened when she died. See, the thing is, you should do a Finding Bigfoot stream. My Doc Sama, thank you for following. Can you imagine a mobile stream or just in the woods of me trying to find Bigfoot? That would be so entertaining. Are sirens still around? I believe there are. I love sirens. Like the evil mermaids that like drag you down underwater. That'd be so sick. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't seen a siren personally, but who am I to say if they're here or not, you know? Why would I be the one that decides that? What if the government is secretly making a project in Area 21? Do you mean like Area 51? Like dead dogs or something as a secret weapon against someone in war? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they were doing stuff that we didn't know about. I mean, I'm sure they are to some extent. But if it was something wild like that, like bioengineering creatures to fight for us, I mean, we've been warned, right? Jurassic World, they were trying to use dinosaurs in the army. I'm not surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised. The Bermuda Triangle is a way to leave, but no one knows if it's true because nobody has survived it. How can I know? Because we can't prove it if it's wrong or right. That's really interesting. Because the Bermuda Triangle does weird shit. Did you guys know that we don't know how eels reproduce? Like eels in the ocean. We don't know how eels reproduce or how they're made. We just know that they swim to the Bermuda Triangle and come back with more eels. I'm not joking. So I would not be shocked if the Bermuda Triangle was some weird portal to a different universe or some weird shit like that. Because if that's the case, the eels are coming out of it, and they're coming out fast. They're coming in droves. Is it Zadian Eclipse? I probably said that so wrong, but thank you so much for following. I appreciate it. Do eels in captivity not reproduce? I don't think so. I don't think we've been able to get them to do anything. And eels live in many places, not just the Triangle. No, you're absolutely right. Eels from all over the world go to the Bermuda Triangle and come back with more eels. Guys, there's some weird shit that happens. Oh. Great question. Great question, and also thank you for the 9 months. I appreciate it. And that's a really good example. That's a very good example. Why did we just decide this? I like knowing all that information. I like tracking down why exactly all of these things are happening. Begone Ender, thank you for following. And Moss on a Rock, thank you for following. Also, Jusong, thank you again for the 9 months. I think that's a great question. I wonder that with numbers a lot. a lot. Like, why did we just decide that we go to 10 and then everything doubles over again? And I've had friends that are better at math explain it to me, and I don't understand math too well, so it's hard for me to get that far. Ramboozed and Begone Ender, thank you for following. I almost it said ramboozled. I was ramboozled just now. 10 because of fingers. That's a great... You just solved one of my life's mysteries. Thank you. That explains everything. Thank you. Have you guys ever thought about, like, why words are the way that they are? Like, in the car yesterday, I was thinking about how we'd call, like, things with cars horsepower. Because we used to ride horses everywhere, and so we're like, it has the power of 10 horses. But, like, we still call it that. I just think that's so funny. I like words like that, where you think about it and you're like, this is so normal, but it has a different meaning, or like a way that you can track it back to its source, and I think that's so interesting. Speaking on the bioengineering creatures, could it end up like Resident Evil, where it takes over most of the population, or it could end up like Stray and the Zerks, where they do more than we wanted and turned against us, and only a small subspecies can stand against them? I think that both are entirely possible. I think we are also headed that route with AI, and we could make robots that are smarter than us that end up killing us all off. Or not, you never know. It doesn't have to go that way, but you don't know. What if the universe has an alternate side of what's going on now, but we'll never know since we're on our own side, or if there's any other species on different planets? That's the hardest part, is the like, we'll never know, because if there are questions like that, if someone finds the answer, they're not gonna come back to tell us. That's so difficult. See, that's what I mean by, like, I think we just want answers to everything. We're constantly asking what and why for everything. Remember, like, I don't know if you guys have, I don't have kids around me anymore, but when I was growing up and when I had younger kids that were growing up around me, you guys know what I mean? Where, like, kids just ask questions all the damn time. They're like, what's that? Why? Why do you do that? What are you doing? What are you doing right now? What is that? But it's because they're learning about the world, right? And I feel like we still do that exact same thing, or at least people like us do. Just a little quieter. Of being like, wait, why? What is that? Why is there a light in the sky? Where is it going? Why did it do that? Why does it move like that? And we want to know. That's how we started charting the stars. That's how we started realizing our place in the universe, because people had questions. This is the other thing I was going to show you. So, humans have struggled to accept new information for a really long time. It's not like a new phenomena for people to be upset about finding out stuff, right? I recently saw a movie that was really, really interesting. Not a movie, it was a play that was really interesting about, you can't even see, Henrietta Leavitt, who was one of the people that first charted the math for how we measure distance in the universe, okay? First off, girl boss, okay? Badass girl boss moment. But I went and saw a stage play about her, which was great, and just discussed, like, her discoveries and her experiences as she did this, right? And people were upset, really upset, when any new information regarding the universe, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. People were really upset whenever any new information regarding the universe came out that, like, changed their concept of reality. Thank you, chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a little sneezy. I think one of the worst parts of the American education system is that it discourages the natural human curiosity. It's a really good point. I agree. It's because it's not training us to be smart. It's training us to work. Modern education system is just training you to go to a job. It's not training you to become smarter. Being interested in animals gives me a lot of unusual questions. How deep is the Mariana Trench, and what lives in the Mariana Trench is another great question. We don't know everything that lives in the ocean. We know very little about what lives in the ocean. Everyone's blessing me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Every time you switch to the secondary camera, you de-age by 5 years. Do I just look like a small child? Do I look like a small child? Am I but a wee babe? I don't think so. I think my dark eye circles are just less noticeable on the camera. Oh man. Man, Merc, I think you would enjoy the YouTube channel Knowing Better. Okay, wait, I'm gonna write that down. My eyes are shining? I got shiny eyes? Oh, but what I was gonna say though, is stuff that, like, concepts like that that threaten our understanding of the universe makes people very afraid, okay? And what he was talking about in that video of the cave theory and of like things like that, right, is that after he was scared about realizing that like everything he had known was not necessarily true, after he was scared, he got very excited and was like, oh, this is sick though, this is awesome. And I feel like that's where a lot of people split down the middle, is a lot of people want to reject things just because it scares them first, without giving themselves any time to adjust and understand the fear. Because fear is a normal thing for survival's sake, right? If we're scared of something because we don't understand it, our first response is to save ourselves and to survive and to, you know, either fight or flight or freeze or fawn or whatever, to get away from the situation so we can live. But not everything, especially information about space that's far, far away from us, is going to immediately harm us. It's just a little psychologically difficult. I say a little, it's very psychologically difficult to completely reconceptualize your entire reality. But when we first found out that the sun is the main point of our galaxy, wait, I'm sorry, I know I should have said it, but I have said it, but you should make a Discord channel for videos about the universe and these sorts of theories. That's really smart, actually. I will add that to my Discord server, because that's a really good point. And I might have missed your comment earlier saying that, I apologize. It changed to the sad music whenever you started to talk about fear and harm. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to be sad and spooky. You look like Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks, bro. Love the vibe, though. Thank you. I mean, it was a compliment anyway. It ended as a compliment. It ended as a compliment. I'll take it as one. Thank you. Thanks. Is there a job/subject you can just learn about stuff like this? I mean, philosophy and ethics classes talk about this type of stuff a lot. I would say philosophy is your best bet to just like ask these questions, but like a lot of stuff in regards to more specific areas like space or the ocean or things like that, or like I really like human psychology and understanding how the brain works. You can go into psychology and understand the brain, or you can just have an interest. There are also, it's okay to just absorb information. That's something else, is that like I know a lot, right? Clearly I'm talking. Doesn't mean I know everything. I know basically nothing. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything, okay? Which is why I don't trust anyone who thinks that they know everything. That's a really important lesson. Don't trust people who think they know everything. Because people who actually know everything know they know nothing. And I'm not saying I know nothing, or that I know everything. I know nothing. There you go. And we're going in a big old circle. Katie, thank you for following. Katie JV, thank you. What about soulmates and true love / love at first sight? I believe in soulmates, but not the true love stuff. Because I think that everything is the same energy being recycled over and over again. Not even I think. I know that matter and energy are recycled over and over and over again. If we die, our body is eaten up by the little bugs and the worms and excreted out into the earth, and eventually picked up and created as a new thing, whether it's a plant or an animal or whatever. You are recycled over and over. Stuff doesn't just appear, it's reused, right? Lovejoy Turtle, thank you for following. I just got here very confused. We're talking about the life and energy. Did you drink water yet? I have a little bit left in here. It's mostly ice. That's all I got. I got a little bit. I got a bit. Shay, or she, thank you for following. Thoroughly confused. It's alright. It's alright. Basically, right? In the universe, everything's made out of atoms, and all of those atoms are matter and energy that could be used in a bunch of different ways, whether it's in my body, or in this cat tree that's next to me, or in my cat that's outside, or in the leaves that are outside my window. All of that is made from matter and energy that will grow up and live and die and be reused again, right? So in the case of like soulmates, Tristan Lovely, thank you for following. I think that when energy is released and displaced, all of the things that you've interacted with your entire life as a person, right? Let's say us right now. This is energy interacting. My brain is firing off electricity and energy as I'm talking to you guys, and you guys are absorbing that, and it's firing off things in your brain, and we are just energy and matter interacting right now. It might not be physically, but digitally, we're just energy, and all of the digital electricity and internet that I'm using, also energy, right? We are just transferring energy back and forth. That's all it is vibrations and wavelengths, and it's awesome. And the impact that either you guys have on me or I have on you guys will somehow impact both of our decisions for the rest of our lives until we die and our energy is reused, right? Those little wavelengths and ripples, like the butterfly effect, can affect our future, if you're saying like how the energy is recycled, I would say. And this is where it kind of gets into more theoretical, just throwing stuff around to answer questions rather than stuff that's based in full science. But I think if the understanding of energy is that it's shifted and recycled and just bumping into everything over and over and over again, it would make sense if those ripples brought you back to people that were important in past lives or anything that you would want to say like that. So certain things like luck or fate or destiny, I think can sometimes be attributed and taken back to past lives or past energy or things like that. Sure, I think that is perfectly understandable and conceivable and is an option. Cup, thank you for following. And they love Jasper Skies and British men's supremacy. Thank you for following. Bro, I just joined. What's going on? We're talking about everything. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to make you feel dumb. We're just talking about basically anything right now. I was talking about how my consciousness and my energy is interacting with you, even if it's over a screen, which is weird. That's weird. Minaina Oreo, thank you for following. You guys are trying to give me a stroke with the usernames I'm reading right now. Dang. I gotta go. Bye. I'll be back. No worries. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Hi, Boba T. Hello. 1 year, 2 months, 30 days nearly. Loser Akari. Thank you for following. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I just go off on tangents and I just talk and talk and talk. Oh, yeah. I was gonna pull up the, So not only do we have Henrietta Leavitt that's here, right? But also, this was something that happened in her lifetime, and so it was also in the show that we saw, is Einstein's theory of relativity, okay? If you don't know what the theory of relativity is, it's basically gravity and how gravity interacts with stuff in the universe. So, like, gravity pulls and has control over certain things, and this was what explained that, like, space expands outwards and, like, time is not linear. Surprise! Time's not linear. Time is a construct that we made up in order to process what's happening to us. And so when that came out, everyone got really pissed off and didn't understand what was happening because it's a difficult process to realize that time is not linear. And so people that had concepts or ideas that are like that, even if they are scientifically proven, it will be really difficult for people to accept that information for a while. So when stuff like maybe people realizing that gender is a social construct that doesn't need to exist all the time and is way more fluid and meaningless than there are two genders, people are gonna be upset about that. Because it's not fitting in their normal worldview. Doesn't mean that it's not true. Doesn't mean that it's not scientifically proven. Doesn't mean that it's not well understood, documented science, and also real things that are happening to people. It just means that those people are afraid of something they don't understand, and it's going to take them a lot longer to process it. Because that's what's always happened. Throughout all of history, through all time, when science is discovered that doesn't fit with reality, which is just our constructed understanding of what we know so far, we reject it. That's why the Greek gods existed, is because people didn't know why it was raining, or why there was thunder, or why the ocean moved the way it did, or where people went when they died. So they made Hades, and Poseidon, and Zeus. And when we get explanations, and we learn more, and we evolve more, and we learn more about science, and history, and the human brain, and what we can make up, we realize some things are constructed just for our sake. Not necessarily that they exist as a law of nature. Oh, worm. Thanks, Enby. I appreciate it. My heart goes out to Enby. Hope that he's having a good day without me. Really quick off-topic question. What all games do you play? Right now, I'm playing Stray, Dial Town. What was the other one that I paused that I need to play right now? I'm playing right now off stream. I play No Man's Sky, but usually I play like Minecraft, horror games. We'll switch out on the horror games. Disney Princess, Enchanted Journey. That's the other one. Oh my god, chat, we need to finish the Disney Princess game. Okay, maybe my next stream, I'll do another Disney Princess Enchanted Journey stream because Mike and me, thank you for following, and Bizarre Bryn. Disney Princess Enchanted Journey is a GameCube game. Yana says ditto on them. Well, thanks, guys. Glad you could not be here, I guess. Thanks for reaching out. I miss them. I miss them. I do also believe dinosaurs still exist, but not as childish interpretations. But also not as researchers' interpretations. It's very hard to see what someone would look like just by their fossil. Same with dinosaurs. We as humans came up with an idea of what they would look like based off of the remaining DNA and fossil, but they could be any animal, evolution, and we would never know. That's a great example! We don't know what dinosaurs look like, we just used the information we had at the time, and as we've gathered more information, people have been like, oh, what we thought dinosaurs used to look like is not actually accurate anymore. And you know how many people are so angry about that? That are like, no, that's not what a dinosaur looks like. It doesn't have feathers. Said who? Who made you think you knew what a dinosaur looked like? You just knew what information was handed to you. Do we know that dino bones go the way that they do? How do we know that oh, like where they go, right? So like some of it is just, well, most of it is just guessing, like educated guesses based off of like estimations of other structures and bones that we have, but especially if we haven't found a full skeleton of the dinosaur, which like, I'm pretty sure the T-Rex, we still haven't found an entire skeleton. How would you know? How would you know? Hello, Merc, how long are you planning on streaming today? I've been streaming for about an hour almost at this point, so I don't know, maybe about half an hour more, maybe less, I'm not sure. I don't know. I guess it depends on how many interesting questions you guys keep having. Also, thank you again for the bits, Worm. Sorry, I don't know if I said thank you for that. Have you seen feathered dino illustrations? The chunk fluff ones. Yes, and I like them. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like that, wait, who was it that said that? Who was it that was talking about the dinosaurs just barely? I missed it. Oh yeah, Felix. That said, like, we don't know what they look like. We just attached skin to bones to guess based off of the information that we had. They could look completely different. They could have been big and chubby. I love how a lot of things are social constructs because it shows how much the human species truly doesn't understand concepts of life. It just means there's so much we still can find out. Like how if time is a social construct, we could go full-on warrior cat style and count the moons as time to simplify how our brain processes the day as it passes. And guess what? We used to do that! Think about it, guys. You say many moons. Like, that's part of why we measure in months and in 30-day periods is because of the phases of the moon. So a fortnight, or like a fortnight is I think, right? A fortnight's half a month. Because they would guess, fortnight definition. A period of 2 weeks. Yeah, half of a month. And they would do that because it would be halfway through that phase of the moon being either full or a new moon. So you're absolutely right. Not Fortnite like the game. Chad, not like the game. Fortnite Battle Pass. Exactly. Bits are great, Merc. I get to force you to read my silly little messages for the low price of too much money. That's true. You paid a whole $1 for me to read your mind when you could do it for free? Y'all are crazy. The oldest calendar that has been discovered was thought to have been a lunar calendar, but actually was a charting of a woman's cycle. That's so interesting. That's really weird. Number 1 victory royale, and we're done with the Fortnite talk, and we're done. I had something else I wanted to show you, though. Oh, heliocentrism. I know it's a big word. I know. It's okay. But heliocentrism is the belief that the sun is in the middle of the galaxy, right? And this is the concept I keep referencing that was like so hard for people to understand. The people that believe this and like first brought this up and was claiming this to people were put to death. Potato Wolf Jellybean, thank you for following. Like, I don't think you guys, I mean, I'm sure you guys get it, but I don't think a lot of people realize, like, how upsetting saying something against natural society is. Because if you are threatening someone's understanding of reality, they are going to go into fight or flight mode. It's gonna be scary. And that's why it's so difficult for me to like talk about these concepts with people who haven't questioned their reality, because it sounds like I'm threatening their reality, which I'm not trying to threaten it. It's me saying, it's like the cave theory, right? Where he goes outside, he sees a real tree, and he comes back in and he goes, I know you guys are excited about the shadows on the wall right now, but these shadows are nothing compared to what's outside. And everyone goes, my shadows are nothing? What, you're trying to shit on my shadows? What's wrong with my shadows? You trying to take my shadows away? That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. I'm not trying to attack your religion by saying that I'm trans. It's that I exist, and you are under some, like, false reality where I don't. I'm not trying to threaten you by saying, hey, ooh, and that's not all that it is. It's also, like, that the multiverse probably exists. Hello? Like, there are so many things that we could talk about if people could move on from that. But I think we're just, it takes a minute, okay? I'm a man before my time. We'll get there eventually. But that's why I like talking about it, like, with people like you. Because then we can discuss it. Even if it's not how society runs right now. Choopy3, thank you for following as well. I keep trying to drink out of this and it's empty every time. Guys, look at my, have I showed you my stickers? Look at my Aang sticker. It's beautiful, it's shiny. You can't see it too well. Also, here's a cat opening his third eye. Look how beautiful he is. Look at him. He's opened his third eye. He knows, chat. He knows too much. That cat is burdened with knowledge. Tristan, no worries. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Please read my last 2 messages. Sorry, there's so many messages. I will go back. There was a man who got off of a plane heading to somewhere. He got off the plane and the man looked at his passport and said he came from a place called Taured, but apparently between France and Spain. This place doesn't exist. But because of this, they locked him in the 5th floor of an isolating building, guards everywhere, and then checked up on him the next day. He was gone. People believe this is from the future and he accidentally jumped through a wormhole while on the plane and jumped back through the building. Okay, wow, that's really interesting. Abel in it, thank you for following, I appreciate it. Okay. Okay, many things. I was talking about religion with a guy, and he was genuinely confused that I'm atheist, and I was not raised atheist. Some people just never question the things they are told growing up. Callie Hardlove, thank you for following. Yeah, and that's the thing is that, like, I feel like when you present all of this information, right, and you show it to people who haven't questioned the reality, it's like bamboozling. It's mind-blowing to me that people will look at something and just be like, I won't think about it right now because it conflicts with cognitive dissonance. If you have 2 things that conflict with your reality, most likely you're going to choose the one that's easier to comprehend. So if I tell you something that is difficult to understand and you're like, I don't know, I don't know if I believe that. That's pretty normal. Nothing inherently wrong with being like, yeah, I'm not sure. You're supposed to be skeptical. That's what your brain's built in to do. But it is really difficult to watch people do that in front of you. And you can't force people to understand or like convince them, you know? Look up, it's called A Man from Taured. There's a whole thing, it's really cool. Okay, wait, Man from Taured. I want to read chat because I feel, oh wow, yep, it came up. In the Japanese news. Okay, I'm gonna read that in a minute. I just want to make sure I read chat right now. I'm gonna rewatch this whole stream for another 2 to 5 times so I can really let this sink in. I love talking about stuff like this. Now that I know that you guys enjoy this as well, I'd be so down to do streams like this all the time. I love talking about stuff like this. I can ramble on about dinosaurs and stuff for ages, so if you have any questions about dinosaurs, I'll try my best to answer. I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. I'm always down to talk about it. What's your favorite dinosaur, Jasper? Please. My parents have told me multiple times that there's 2 genders, and that I'm friends with anyone who's part of the LGBT community that'll punish me. Been trans for 3 years, and I tried to come out once, and they took away my phone for 2 years. In situations like that, Olive, I hope that you are being safe. I know that it feels like you can never get out, but it will end. And it's more important for you to be safe and to survive that situation and protect yourself, and escape that first before coming out sometimes, if that is what needs to happen. And I'm sorry, I've been there, I understand. It doesn't invalidate anything or like invalidate anything that you're feeling and the thoughts that you're having. Sometimes you just have to do it for your own safety, and I'm really sorry. I hope that you're doing okay. When it comes to theories about the universe, I think people confuse Occam's razor with confirmation bias. Absolutely! And Occam's razor is an interesting theory too, because Occam's razor is made up by us. Like, Occam's razor is not a law of the universe. If you don't know what Occam's razor is, it's that, like, the simplest answer is most likely the right one, right? Instead of being like, my trash can is missing. There must be a trash goblin in my room that's taken my trash can away. Instead, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe someone moved it out of my room. You go to the simplest, most easy to understand answer. But that's not always the case. That literally is not always the case, because there are weird and unusual things that happen all the time. It's just majority of the time it's going to be something explainable, because life is majority pretty boring. So that's a really good point. Occam's razor is a good one to bring up. Awoms, and thank you for following. You guys are really running me for my money on my dyslexia with these users, is I can't tell if they're spelled this way or if I'm blinded. Oh my goodness, my goodness. Whichever one you feel more steady on or feel anchored with is most likely your undominant leg. Wait, backing up. The human body too. I learned a really cool thing about the human body and about balance. Depending on what is your dominant hand or leg, most likely the undominant hand or leg is the stable one. If you were to step off of a curb, which foot goes first? For me, it's my right one. Always. My left leg has gotten so used to being the supporting leg that my body unconsciously wants to be the most stable or balanced when stepping off the curb. With my right leg being the leading one, my left one is the stable one. Another example is track runners. I believe most of them start with the right leg back. When the gun goes off, they bring their right leg forward and they push off with their left leg because it's most likely being used that way, which is why if they do it the other way, they might feel unbalanced or feel wrong. That makes perfect sense. Fruity soup and sleepy pancakes and sweaty Josh, thank you for following. That makes perfect sense to me. Ross and Possum, no worries. Thank you so much for stopping by. Glad that you found us. Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how many of you guys experience this, but I have really bad eyesight, and I have a dominant eye. I have one eye that I see out of normally, and I can swap to, like, the main control of my other eye, and I have no way to explain this to people other than, like you have two arms and you can use them together, but you can also use them separately. It's not like I can move my eyes separately, but I can focus on one eye or the other separately, if that makes sense. And it's because my eyes are messed up. It's not like it's a fun little superpower and it hurts my eyes, but it's a weird thing that, like, I don't know. I can only explain as much as language will permit me, which is an interesting, concept in itself, is if we don't have language or words created with a meaning that I need to explain what I need to, I can't describe the experiences that I have. I don't know if that makes any sense. I can only tell you something as far as we have developed language for me to tell you. So if I had some weird, paranormal, alien, otherworldly, indescribable experience, literally indescribable, I can't tell you about it if we don't have the words. So people who have experienced real weird paranormal things, right, usually are talking weird shit and we think that they're crazy. Because if you're using words that don't connect with what you're actually describing, you're just trying to grasp at straws for anything that fits as much as you think. I'd think that a lot of people that are crazy or insane have possibly just had weird experiences with altered realities like we were talking about earlier. I like the theory that UFOs are just time travelers coming back from the future to see the world. Why the sightings are usually from before the internet, because they can look at social media if they want to see now. But way back then there was no social media. Thoughts? That's really interesting. Going back in time to observe life before social media. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about time travel in general, because I've been talking a lot with my girlfriend Bunny, who believes that time travel wouldn't be with your body. If you were traveling through time, it would be, like we were talking about energy, right? And energy and matter being recycled. Your consciousness would travel back to where your energy and matter were used, but your body wouldn't be able to. Because if you understand like quantum physics and the speed of light and blah 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 fancy space stuff, basically traveling at the speed of light won't happen because our bodies physically can't go that fast without aging. Listen, it's a lot. Because time's not linear, but our body will decay over time, things like that. So if we sent our brains and our minds back in time, but our bodies couldn't, we could maybe time travel by inhabiting someone else's body that energy and energy and matter eventually recycles back into us. But also, again, all just up in the air, and I'm not sure where I stand on it, because that's mostly Bunny's idea, but I think that's really interesting. I think that's a really, really interesting concept, and not something you usually see from time travel movies, so that'd be really cool. Have you ever considered that language, as we simplify it to make communication easier, becomes more complicated? Yes, absolutely. You guys know what internet speak is, and you know that old people can't speak internet. You know what the like text tone lamau means and how it's different from lol, and how K is different from OK, and how the period versus no period all exists. Those all have different intonations that are only understood by the people that experience and speak the language. It's so wild. Like all the little internet speak, all the little tiny complicated nuances that we've put into digital like communication. If you send a text to someone and you can understand the meaning and like the emotion that they put behind a text message because you've learned how that person texts, so you've learned a completely different language and form of communication and language from that person. Like I talk in person very similarly to how I text. Someone might be really bubbly and open and talkative in person and then talk in all lowercase with periods after every single sentence over text. That would be weird for me. I'd have to learn how that person uses the internet as a language and a form of communication. So absolutely, I think it's gotten more complicated. We've learned a whole new language. Yes, absolutely. Music? That was ominous. It just disappeared. That was really ominous. Yes, I think so. To answer your question from before, my favorite dinosaur is the Spinosaurus. That's a good one. The most complete fossil of it was blown up in World War II because it was housed in Germany. That's awful. I'm so sorry. That's like, I'm grieving over that skeleton now. Also, Callie Chan and Fruity Soup and Mars Soot and Sleepy Pancakes. Thank you for following. What if only our consciousness is able to time travel, so our body stays back where we are right now, but our mind travels back? Well, and think about stuff in that concept, right? People do that still all the time. There's astral projection is very similar to that, right? Like, if you guys have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? If Aang starts meditating, his body stays in one place, but consciously he travels to like another dimension. If you're gonna talk to Aang, right, and he says, oh yeah, I went to the spirit world, and you're like, no you didn't, your body was right here. Doesn't mean he didn't go to the spirit world. It's that his consciousness was somewhere different and his body existed in one spot. So if by that concept, then that structure and that rule, you're gonna claim that astral projection, dreaming, reality shifting, that people talk about like shifting realities in their dreams and like those types of things, could all be understood as like spiritual or potentially time traveling like concepts and practices, which I think even if you're claiming like, oh, but your mind made it up, like it's just a weird dream that you convinced yourself of, it's still happening. You're still experiencing those things. Like that, I feel like that's closest to time travel that you could possibly get if you're gonna not believe that that's time travel. Beetle Brain and Tiny Wither, thank you for following. So anyway, yes, that's what I was talking about. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Maybe time travel is a conscious thing, not a physical thing. You would get along with my girlfriend. That's exactly what she thinks. Being live, thank you. My goodness, I'm gonna choke. Thank you so much for the sub. You almost killed me just now. Thank you so much for subbing. I'm glad that you're having a good time. Have you heard of reality shifting, Merc? The concept, I know it got a lot of traction on TikTok about a year ago. I definitely know what it is if we're talking about the one that I think of, which is like you kind of write like a script and try to alter your reality to like a different alternate reality and like swap your consciousness in your body. I don't know how much of it is doable, but I do know the concept of it, and I think that makes sense. I think the concept of it makes sense. So, Ari Dumbfound, and Butterboy Julian, thank you for following, thank you. I saw a thing that said we'd only be able to time travel as far back as when the time machine was made. Interesting. Because I constantly think about, and there's memes, right? The Industrial Revolution and the effects of the Industrial Revolution. But I really don't know if we'd be able to go back in time past when we created technology. Because that kind of energy that we would need to power that wouldn't exist. Or, I mean, it does, right? Because matter only shifts, it doesn't go away. But it wouldn't be in the form that we would need it in order to do that. I don't know. Yo, I'm a Haver. Hello. How you doing? Second attempt, do you like rats? Sorry, I missed that first chat. I do like rats. Don't mind rats at all. Think rats are pretty chill. I've never had a rat. My family had a no rodents, no lizards, or a no rodents, no reptiles rule. But I think rats are cool. I think rats are smart. Do you guys know we talked about this when we were watching the perception video, right? But like, because of evolution and time perception is connected to your metabolism and your size, and also how you have evolved. So if I got a field mouse and a pet rat, a domesticated rat, or even like one of those rats that walk around New York City, right? These are two animals that are fairly similar sizes, fairly similar look, but they are evolved completely differently, okay? Because a field mouse still scurries and moves around super, super fast because it needs to. It still has to escape all of those natural predators out with owls and hawks and snakes and all those things, right? And it's perceiving time, time is moving a lot slower around it. It has a lot more time to react, right? Whereas a rat has not evolved to need that, because either domestic rats have gotten used to us and live around us, or like the rats in New York have gotten used to feeding and being scavengers and like feeding off of the streets and things like that. Either way, they've gotten used to people around them. So they have not evolved to move as quickly or perceive things as slowly to give them as much of an advantage, because they're evolving to exist with us, same as a lot of other domestic animals. So that type of thing, and how much interactions with us shape how the rest of like animals and everything in nature on the planet evolves, is so wild to me. So yeah, I do like rats. FD Mushroom, thank you for following. Thank you. Although I've been like, I don't know, I think of it differently than scripting or meeting your favorite Harry Potter characters. I know, you know what I mean? I think it's much, much more than that. I understand what you mean. And I think it's connected very closely to astral projection. I think those are probably the same type of, same with lucid dreaming. I think they're all in the same general category of beliefs and practices. Just in slightly different ways and with a lot of different names. Because one fun little thing about language is we can have a bunch of different words that all mean one thing. Doesn't mean that all of the words are invalid, or only one of those words is the right word for that one thing. We can just have a lot of different descriptors, and sometimes that gets really complicated and confusing, especially for people who don't understand social constructs and language as a concept, and think that having all these different names means that each one is its own completely different thing. It's not how labels work. Can I have your theories on dreaming? I mean, if we're talking about our consciousness experiencing dreams, same as if we're going to talk about our consciousness experiencing like hallucinations, or being on drugs, or when they're a little kid and you can see your imaginary friend, things like that, right? Concepts in where our brain makes up something that maybe isn't actually there. If you are experiencing it and you see it and it is your reality, it's happening to you. If there is a little kid that has an imaginary friend that they can describe in great detail because it's really there, because their little kid imagination is envisioning and visualizing something there in front of them, it is there for that kid. That is real. You know what I mean? If you're dreaming, or if you wake up and the shadow man is standing by your bed, I'm so sorry, at that moment, it's real to you, right? If you've ever had sleep paralysis and something freaks you the fuck out, it feels real. And it's real to you in that moment, even if it's not real later on, or if you can't capture it on a camera, or other people can't see it. Perception is reality. If you're perceiving something, it's real to you. Isn't that wild? Isn't that mind-blowing? So if you're feeling horrible, sad emotions about something, and then you find out that that thing didn't actually happen, you still felt those emotions, right? Let's say you found out that, like, your friend died, and it ruins your day, and you're sobbing, and you are grieving, and you're so horribly, like, heartbroken, and then you find out, haha, it's just a prank, he's actually fine. Horrible, horrible prank, but he's not dead. However, for those few hours, you experienced grieving this loss of this thing that happened to you. That experience was real to you. Even if from then on your perception of that experience changes, that original perception was there, which is why psychological damage and like trauma and PTSD and triggers are so real and so concerning, and it's ridiculous for people to like act like that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Thank you so much. Thank you for following as well, Constantine. Thank you so much. Glad you're having a good time. Thank you. That's what, wait, you're key smashing so much, Felix, I don't know what you're saying. There was a study done where rats were put in front of a button, and every time they press the button, food comes out of a tube. And because the food gives so much dopamine to the rats, it pushed the button until it died. And it died because the dopamine, it didn't realize it was starving. Oh, yeah, where there was one that had actual food and then one had drugs, and they liked the drugs so much that they ended up killing themselves because of how much they enjoyed the drugs. Yes, I know what you're talking about, and weird. And also, Luna, thank you for following. Thank you. It sounds like I'm making this up, but I'm not. Wait, I have a blurry memory of a shadow man watching me sleep a week after I apparently saw my grandma, who passed, when I was 7. Felix, it sounds like you had a very strong connection to some spiritual energy when you were younger. That's a little concerning. Teletoby and Cottage, thank you for following. Thank you, Teletoby, that's a funny word. My family tell me all about how I had an imaginary shadow friend. I've never had sleep paralysis, but it's interesting. It is so interesting how humans can have very similar shared experiences before speaking to each other. So like the Hat Man or the Shadow Man, where people will individually see him all the time, and then they'll get on the internet and realize everyone else has also seen the same thing. I feel like that's important. I feel like that tells us that there's a reality that we can't always see. Wait, someone said, mark my last message. Okay, I'm looking. Where are your, wait, I'm opening your messages. I'm opening just your messages. Third attempt. Obscurian Legend Wikia. Thank you so much. Thank you for sending this to me. I'm sorry that I'm so blind to certain messages. Here. Aha! Found it. Oh, it's on a cryptid wiki. Absolutely. Big fan of cryptids. Big fan of cryptids. Anyone's a cryptid fan out here? It's terrifying. I think it is terrifying. Discussing the universe, yes, absolutely. Shadow Glitch plays, and Benen, thank you for following. Right now, I'm talking about how people can have very, like, vastly similar experiences, but be completely separate from each other and not ever speak to each other, and then find out on the internet that they've had very similar experiences. There's something like DMT, okay? I went down this weird rabbit hole when I started realizing that people were having very similar experiences while never speaking to each other before, right? Because I had this like crack in my brain about November of last year, Winged Blue, thank you for following, where I started questioning everything, right? And I was like, I think that the answer to the universe is a circle. Do you guys remember when we watched that video, Inside Out or Outside In, where they like turn a sphere inside out? And that blew my mind. And I think lots of you were there when I tried to explain my first beliefs about the universe. That was a very special, if you were there for that stream, that's very special. You saw the beginning of my existential crisis, and now I've gone in. I've experienced that crisis tenfold, and you guys were there at the very beginning. You got that in your recommended too? Okay, so first, I had this thought that the universe, and the answer to the universe, was infinity. But I didn't understand what that meant. It literally came to me in a dream, right? But I've just been thinking about it all the time. And so I was like, infinity, like what does that mean? And I kept seeing in my mind like a circle being drawn over and over, or like an infinity sign. And I was like, how is it both a circle and an infinity sign? And then this weird ass video
Complete. We must look at a general surface and consider all the points.
Talks about how you can flip a sphere inside out by splitting it into individual circles, and then having those circles like pass over each other. There, did you see it? Did you see the infinity sign? Did you see the... So I started to panic, okay? I started watching this video and I started to panic. I was like, am I going crazy? Am I realizing patterns where there are no patterns? Can you play the animation? Yeah,
Both
absolutely.
the initial and final curve have turning number 0.
It's a 20-minute video. Do you guys want to watch the whole thing? It might be a little too long. Do we want to watch the whole thing? We can. It's really fucking weird. The video is super weird. It's so satisfying. Yes? Okay. We'll watch the video. Is it loud enough? Hopefully you guys can hear it all okay. This is called Outside In, and it started my existential crisis, okay?
Hey, I read somewhere that mathematicians can turn a sphere inside out.
Yes, that's true.
What's the big deal? Just poke a hole in it and pull it through.
Sure, but the point is to do it without making a hole.
But
Oh,
then
here,
it
I'll
seems
turn on
impossible.
captions. Sorry, chat.
You're right.
There you go.
You cannot do it with an ordinary sphere, like a basketball.
I'll get my mac and cheese.
You
Oh
have
yeah,
to
1.5
understand the
speed.
rules
You're
of
so
the game.
smart. Chat,
This
y'all are so
sphere
smart.
is made of
Here we
an
go.
abstract elastic material that can stretch,
The ADHD
Bend
level of speed. There
and
we go.
pass through
Fast
itself.
and curious. Thank you
but
for
you
calling.
cannot rip or
That's
puncture
great
this
name.
material without destroying it. And you cannot crease it or bend it sharply.
If the surface can pass through itself, what's the problem?
Do you think allowing self-intersections makes it easy? Try it.
I'll push the two halves right through each other.
Be careful. What about that ring around the equator? Remember, you mustn't tear or crease it.
This has got such weird
try again.
vibes to it. Am I the
That's
only
no
one
good
that
either.
feels that
You're
way?
pinching it infinitely tight.
It just feels like an old PBS
there's no way.
informational video.
It's impossible.
They seem
You
too
have to
happy
crease or
and
pinch it to turn it
quiet
inside
about
out.
It is surprising, but watch this.
Like watching a Teletubbies episode. Dad, did you see
Is
it?
it? Is this a
Did
sphere
you
turning
see it?
inside out?
Did you see the many infinity signs? This is when I started questioning everything, okay? Female Rompu Live, hello. Look at
And
all
it
of
turned
those
inside out.
infinity signs.
It is surprising, but watch this.
Is this it? Is this a sphere turning inside out?
What?
That wasn't
Okay, listen. For a really long time, I thought I was crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. I think that a lot of people that think a lot think that they're crazy. Either that or I'm crazy. But I guess I wouldn't know, right?
Easy
I
follow,
don't.
was it?
I wouldn't know.
To figure out what's
I
going on,
wouldn't
let's
know.
look at something
I
simpler.
definitely think you're crazy.
A
Okay,
circle.
thanks. Thank you.
We'll build a vertical wall along the circle so that we can color the two sides differently.
That makes me
Can
feel
you
better.
gradually turn this circle into this other circle, where the purple and gold sides are reversed without creating sharp corners?
Of course. I can turn a rubber band inside out.
Remember, we're really trying to turn the circle inside out. We only built the wall so we could see the different sides.
Oh, yes. The wall has to stay vertical, and it can't have creases, but it can pass through itself. Fine.
Lots
Let me
of
try.
weird rules, but it makes sense because it's
Watch
for
out.
math. Oop.
That was a sharp bend. If we could make sharp bends in the material, we'd
Here it
be able to
comes.
turn
Here
any
come the
curve
weird
into any
squiggles.
other by moving each point of the initial curve in a straight line toward a target point in the final curve.
Math is so weird.
But I can avoid corners altogether by making a loop smaller and smaller.
That's an interesting idea, but pulling a loop tight is not really a gradual change. It's like having a corner in disguise. So it's against the rules.
Well, if you can't have corners,
Oh.
and you can't pull loops tight, I think it's impossible to turn the circle inside out.
Yes,
That's
You're right.
quitter talk.
Wait a minute. Am I supposed to believe that you can turn a sphere inside out, but not a circle?
yes.
Stop.
There
What
is
is
something
this? What's the
fundamental
name?
about curve.
It's called Outside In. This is called Outside In. It's a weird ass video. Wait, I'm gonna skip forward a little bit. Basically, look at. Okay, this part's weird. This part's
always
really
turning left.
confusing and weird.
As it goes around the circle once, it makes one full turn toward the left. On a more complicated track, the car might sometimes be turning left, and sometimes right. But the net amount of turning after one complete circuit is always some number of full turns in one direction or the other. The number of full turns it makes toward the left is called the curve's turning number.
Okay, so Follicle. Thank you for following, and Female Rambu Live. Thank you for following as well. Follicle is a horrible name. It's just, I mean, not like, but follicle. You're having me read the word follicle at 3 in the afternoon of my own volition. Like, you brought that to me. Dreamy Ice, thank you for following. This hurts. This hurts. All right, here, I'll scoot in a little bit, okay? Because it's a lot of talking about circles. But here, we can watch the actual thing happen and turn inside out again.
Well, by
Because I know
dividing
that's
them
what
into
Worm
guide
was
segments
originally
connected by
wanting to
waves,
see.
we divide the barrel into guide strips that alternate with wavy strips. The weightiness dies out at the top and bottom, so as to match the caps.
This is going to get complicated.
Then
Yeah,
for
tell
now,
me about it.
let's look at a single guide strip along with the caps. Start by pushing the two caps past each other.
See if you can see the
Before, when I pushed the poles through, it made a
infinity
crease.
sign again.
Stop before the crease, when the guide has a loop in the middle.
There we go.
Now we turn the two caps in opposite directions, because we want to convert the loop in the middle to twisting at the ends.
Oh, I know. It's like a belt. If you put a loop in the middle and pull the ends tight, the loop turns into twisting.
Okay,
Fundamental building
perfect.
block
So
of the
then here's
inversion.
the ending.
See the whole
all of the confusing math, if you want to watch it, you can watch it aside.
Curve that we saw
Here's the
before.
actual twist all the way in and out.
Let me see the whole thing.
We corrugate the connecting strips between the guides, and push the caps past each other. We twist the caps to undo the middle loops, and push the equator across the sphere. Finally, we uncorrugate.
What the fuck?
I still don't understand. Is there
So, you can see how I started melting. My brain started melting. You're not supposed to feel like you can understand anything after that video. If you feel fine and not confused at all, I don't think you were watching. You're supposed to feel really confused. And it left me with a lot of questions, chat. Left me with quite a few questions. And so I started going down this rabbit hole of like infinity signs and spheres and circles being the answer to the universe, right? But then when I was looking into this, I started going down this rabbit hole of like concepts that people have come up with on their own that have ended up being very shared concepts. And one of them is people who do DMT, which is a like crazy ass drug. Don't do DMT, okay? And this is not me. Uzome, thank you for following. This is not me saying to do it. Don't. I don't know what it does to you. I mean, I didn't go that. Don't do that, okay? The only thing is, people have consistently said that they have had hallucinations of little elf people while on this, like, consistently. Think about how weird that is. I did not say to do it. Chad, I didn't say to do it. That's not what I said at all. But think about how weird it is to have a bunch of people simultaneously have the same type of hallucination by themselves. That doesn't make any sense at all. And that makes me feel like there is just like a second level that we can sometimes see, sometimes not, like when we're growing up. Anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense at all or if that was just thrown out there. I appreciate that you guys are I don't know, not calling me crazy or calling me crazy in an understandable way, because I think that you're absolutely right, Worm. I think I am a little bit crazy, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I want to do more stuff like this, but I do have to go, so I'm gonna send you guys over to Ethan because he's streaming right now. Zazzinombies 4011, thank you for following. Thank you guys for joining me today. I will be back soon, whether it's with another stream like this or with the Disney Princess stream or something along those lines. But I think it'll be really fun. Join the raid, and I will see you guys in a little bit. If you've never, oh, thank you so much, Lauren, thank you for following. Espresso Cookie, thank you for following. If you haven't followed yet and you've still been here, hi, follow, join, so you can see the next stream, so that you can see notifications. Follow me on Twitter, follow my YouTube. Oh my god, I started writing a really awesome video. I'm so excited to show you. Anyway, love you guys. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye bye. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye. Ah!